Are you tired of finishing dead last in your fantasy football league? Burned out on everyone calling you a piece of shit? Is your name Austin? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I have just the cure for you. It's the Fantasy Football Podcast, recorded live from the Boom Boom Room in Irvine, California. Tonight's co-hosts include Tyler Roach, Kevin Dahlgren, and Gabe What's-His-Name, along with a surprise mystery guest. Now, here's your host, part-time sex therapist and full-time sinner, Troy McClure.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such movies as Abraham Lincoln, the interracial love guru, or more recently, last week's Fantasy Football Podcast.
This week's episode is brought to you by the letter H, as in, holy shit, I can't believe Tyler Roach is here. Now, pull up a chair, grab a beer, and start taking a bong rip. Here's the power rankings going into Week 9. Give it up for Tyler Roach, everybody. He flew over 2,000 miles just to be here for this podcast tonight. Tyler, congratulations on your big win. And how does it feel to be back home?
Feels great to be on vacation. I needed it. It'll be a nice long week, and I kicked the shit out of you last week.
You sure did. And in fact, everybody in the West Division won, except Chad Farron, of course. And aside from Chad Orris, everybody in the East Division lost. I mean, that's pretty much all you need to know for Week 8. Let's go ahead and look at the stats for Week 9. Kevin, you did your homework over the weekend and found a lot of really cool stats. Could you share those with us?
I'd love to, Dane. So I went back and created a hypothetical season where every week, instead of playing just one team, it was basically ranked by who scored the most points, and your record is based on how many teams you beat every week. So I went back and added those totals up for everybody over the whole season and created a more, I think, consistent power ranking for the league. So here we go. Starting from the bottom, we have, as everybody might expect, Jeff with a 16-56 record.
Ouch.
At number 9, we've got Austin. No surprise there. He's 27-45. At the tied at the 7/8 spot, we've got Zach and me, Kevin, with a 28-44 record. 6th spot, we've got Dane at 29-43. Moving up here, getting closer to the 500 mark, we've got Faring at a 34-38 record. And then Dennis finally breaks that 500 mark at a 38-34 record. Top 3 might surprise you. Chad Orris is actually the number 3 team with a 49-23 after that cupcake schedule. And then Tyler at number 2 with 51-21 record, followed by Gabe at the top spot with a 56-16 record. Actually, the complete opposite of Jeff's record down there at the bottom. So the top and the bottom are mirror opposites of each other. It's kind of fun, interesting way to play a hypothetical season.
Oh, that's really neat. And I got to add, you did the math all on your own. You didn't use a calculator or like Yahoo. In those leagues, they provide these stats for you. In ESPN, the league we're playing in, they don't provide you with these kind of numbers. You put it upon yourself to do this on your own. I think that's really cool, man.
Yeah, I was really bored and
marijuana.
Really high.
Yeah. Hey, some people say marijuana makes you unproductive. I'm going to say the complete opposite. I'm going to say it gives you a lot more joy doing stuff like this.
You know, I think if I spent as much time looking at my own lineup the way I did this, I'd probably be having a better season.
Hey, what's the fun in that, though? That sounds selfish.
I'd do anything for you guys.
That means a lot. Speaking of a lot, Tyler and I were talking on the show last week, and we said we wished we had the numbers in front of us of how many wins and losses against each other we've had in the last 6 years. Kevin, you put it on yourself, and you found those numbers.
I did, and Tyler has a lot of wins against you.
Damn it.
Tyler is 4-2 against you since 2013, including 2 playoff wins. And he's also outscored you by 585 to 519.
Those playoff losses were expensive, not just in this league, but financially, because Tyler and I have always made side bets, even though we didn't make it public to the rest of the league. We would bet the loser would have to buy the winner dinner or breakfast, and we went out for steaks and mimosas. And Tyler, I can't wait to return the favor, man. Are you going to buy me some stuff?
No chance.
Oh, God, we got to make some side bets. And that goes for the rest of you guys. I've only done the only side bet of the whole league. I want to see some more side bets. I mean, do you guys agree?
I think I liked watching that video of you dumping cold water on you. That sounded a little homoerotic, but fuck it, I'll go with it. Yeah, let's throw some stuff out there on the league chat. Get some side bets going, guys.
Yeah, now that we're getting closer to the playoffs, there's going to be some really important matchups that decide if you're going to make the playoffs or not. They're already heavy games. We should play some side bets and make them even more interesting for not only our entertainment, but for the people playing in it. I think it'd be great for all of us.
And I think our listeners out there would love to hear about those kinds of side bets too.
And we could even make a poll. I mean, let's let you guys decide. Who do you want to see and what challenge? Ice bucket challenge, cinnamon challenge, 25 push-up challenge. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Let's vote on something and let's see who should do it. I mean, we all want Austin to do stupid shit, but let's let you guys decide.
We can't bet for money?
As you might have heard in the intro, tonight we have a surprise mystery guest. Let's go ahead and dial him up and see if he answers.
Hello?
Hey, Chad Orris, this is Dane Flowers. You're live on the air, man. You're on the Fantasy Football Podcast.
Oh, look at that. I made it.
You
How's
made
it going,
it, buddy. Hey, I wanted to just call you, man, and say congratulations. And you're number one in my eyes, man. I'm sorry I haven't called you sooner. Congratulations on your success. What do you have to say, man?
You know, Dane, I'm just like everyone else. I put my pants on one leg at a time. Except when my pants are on, I'm number one. But, you know, it takes a village. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it while I can.
Dude, you're kicking ass, man. Those pants must be made of gold or silver, because my pants have holes in them and skid marks out the back.
Yeah. You know, the gold pants are safe for Bruce Dickinson, but everyone else, I can try and be as good as you can.
Oh, excellent answer. Hey, I've also got Kevin Dahlgren here with me. It's just us three, and I know he's got a couple questions for you as well.
That explains why Kevin called me.
Hey, Chad, you know, I've given you a lot of shit over the years of not being very good. I think one year we even went as far as making league T-shirts that said, if Chad wins, everyone loses. I have to say, you're making me put my foot in my mouth now. It's good to see you back. I couldn't be happy for you, brother.
Listen, it feels great to finally polish that turd, let me tell you. It was a tough couple of years, but it's feeling good to be on top. And, you know, you definitely gave me that kick in the butt, Dane, with, I think it was 3 weeks ago, with the saying that I would start going downhill. So I started looking up the waiver wires and making sure that wasn't going to happen.
There we go. So we're looking at next week's schedule. You've got a matchup coming up with Dane Flowers. Is there anything that you want to say to Dane while you've got him here on the phone?
You know, I think we might have to do another side bet because I had a lot of fun with the last one. I don't know if you have anything in mind besides an ice bucket challenge. I was trying to think of something, but I couldn't really think of anything coming up to this week. Do you have any ideas, Dane?
Dude, I'm so glad you said that, man. I know we didn't rehearse this. This is just a live call. And in my head, I was thinking,
did I read your mind?
Yeah, we're live right now, man. And I even said to myself off the air, I said, hey, I would love to do a side bet. Because last time, you know, I wanted to ruin your perfect record. And, of course, I ended up making a fool of myself. And I had to dump the ice on myself. But it was more fun filming it than anything. I figured since I picked the last one, either you can pick this one, or we can let the league vote on it. We could do a poll if you want.
Go for it.
You know, Dane, I think we should let the league decide on this one. Let's spice things up a bit.
Let's do it, man. I love the side bets. I love the idea of the side bets, and it almost offends me that more people aren't into it, and I'm stoked that you're into it, man. I was really happy that you accepted the last Ice Bucket Challenge. That was really cool of you, man. My hat goes off to you.
Oh, yeah. It makes it fun, and I'm very happy that I did not win that one, considering it's, you know, getting towards 45, 50 degrees and raining up here. So that would have been a fun Ice Bucket Challenge for me.
If I were you, I would have done it in the shower with the hot water ready to go. That way, it's just like, oh, this is cold. Boom, I'm right in the hot shower.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
I'm going to go ahead and give the first suggestion, and there may be a late-night pier jump sin ropa, you may say.
Oh, man, I don't even know what would be the correlation to that up here.
Oh, that's right. You're still up in Portland. Are there any cold
Seattle.
lakes or streams, creeks, swimming pools, maybe.
Yeah, there's Lake Washington. Oh, that would suck. But I could maybe I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah, that can be one. Jumping into a large body of water. I'm down for that. I can jump into Lake Washington.
Ooh, I know this. We don't have to keep it that gnarly. I mean, that one is borderline, could be risky business.
Hypothermia is a risk.
Chad TBD for next year.
And somehow he still won the championship.
that would be for the record books right there.
So I think we should give it up or throw it out to the league. Throw your recommendations, any ideas you have up in the Facebook group, message, chat, whatever it may be. Let's hear from the listeners.
I have a strong feeling that Faring or Tyler, it's going to be something alcohol related, but that's just a wild guess on my end.
I like that, man. I like that a lot. And I just want to say thanks again for joining us and being here live on the show, man. You've always been a great sport about this. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners while you're live on the air?
I heard the one Chad Faring's phone call last week, talking a whole lot of shit about me, about how he's going to beat me, but all I got to say is just look at that scoreboard, Faring.
Damn right. I hope you're listening, Chad Faring.
All right, thanks, guys. I love podcasts. Keep it going.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Chad. We love having you.
All right, have a good one, boys.
See ya. Great interview from Chad Orris right there. Let's go ahead and look at our matchups going into Week 9. Now, what makes Week 9 interesting is there are so many players on bye weeks. I mean, some teams are just loaded. Let's start with our Weenie Hut Junior matchup of the week, Gabe versus Austin. Now, normally this matchup would be a blowout. Gabe would just work Austin. What makes it interesting, Gabe has 5 starters on a bye week. Kevin, could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely, Dane. So, Gabe's looking at buys from LeGarrette Blount, AJ Green, Rob Gronkowski. He's got DeAndre Hopkins, who is or is not sometimes a starter on his team, and the Cardinals defense on a bye. What I like about Gabe's team is he was fucking sneaky as shit and picked up all of his fucking Week 9 bye replacement players in Week 7 or 8.
Son of a bitch.
And also, he's got a nice replacement for LeGarrette Blount. I don't know if you've heard of him, but his name is Le'Veon Bell. I think is his name.
I've heard rumors.
He's got Mike Wallace to replace AJ Green. He picked up Kevin Rudolph to replace Rob Gronkowski. DeAndre, don't know what he's going to do there, but he can do some shifty shit with his lineup and throw Christine Michael or something in his flex. And then he's got the Chiefs defense on his bench that he can play for the Cardinals. So I think he's covered. He should roll over Austin like any normal week.
But with all that, I'd say there still is a small sliver of a chance that Austin could get in there. Gabe, what do you have to say about that matchup?
I should be really confident. It is Austin. I would talk shit, but we all know that he doesn't fucking listen to this. My big worry, though, is I have 2 crappy matchups. I have Amari going against Denver's defense. That's scary. Denver's defense is probably the best defense in the league, right? I mean, we can all agree on that.
But there is Derek Carr in his fourth quarter performances recently.
Yeah, well, Derek Carr threw over 500 yards last week.
He does well in the fourth, and Murray is a big part of that.
Yeah, and then, my other one that's really, really worrying me is Matt Stafford playing Minnesota. Minnesota, that's Tyler's defense, has been, this kind of the surprise, sneaky play of the year. I don't think anyone saw Minnesota being the powerhouse team of the NFC at this point at the beginning of the season. But any quarterback playing Minnesota has really shit the bed for the most part, except for Jay Cutler,
who threw on his Halloween costume and decided to be a good quarterback for once.
Yeah,
which was a great costume, by the way. I might pick it up next year.
He should try it more often.
Considering that's his fucking job,
right?
I'm excited to watch that matchup. The Super Weenie Hut Junior matchup also has some bye weeks. That's going to be Dane versus Chad Orris. That matchup is interesting because Dane has 5 players on a bye week, and there's a potential for a side bet chosen by you, the listeners. So let's make that one interesting. Dane has to pull some fucking miracles on the waiver wire tomorrow. Kevin, could you give us a little bit of insight on that one?
Yeah, Dane, you might be in a little bit more trouble than Gabe as far as replacing your bye week players. You have 5 bye week players just like Gabe, but unfortunately, you don't have the bench to do it. You've got Lamar Miller and Gio Bernard, your 2 starting running backs on bye. You've got Larry Fitzgerald on a bye, the Patriots defense, and Cameron Meredith from your bench, who could have possibly replaced Larry Fitzgerald. So right now, the only hope you've got is Tavon Austin or Shepard from the Giants as a replacement for Fitzgerald, and the rest you've got to do some waiver hunting, my friend.
Some waiver wire magic. What makes this even more painful is CJ was my workhorse, and then I lost him to injury, so now I'm already short on running backs. Now I don't have any.
Is CJ officially out for the year?
That's what I hear. I heard he told sources that he was going to be coming back, but then he deleted that tweet, and now he's saying, you know what, guys, I'm sorry about that. I am done for the season. There's a chance he might come out in the playoffs, but that's our season will already be over by then.
So you're hearing from your sources close to the league that, or close to league sources, that CJ Anderson is officially out for the rest of the year.
Yep, and as of a few hours ago, I dropped him. So if there was any hope, he's up for grabs. You, the listeners.
And I was backup. Now
Yeah.
return starter, Booker.
Thank you, Tyler. That was very good pickup when we were playing each other last week because that's who I was going to pick up. But you're on Central Time. You're 2 hours ahead of us, so I wasn't even awake yet. And then I get on, and I'm like, I'm going to pick up Booker. And sure enough, you had already picked him up.
Hey, I got nothing to do at my desk. So, bright and early, waiver wire.
That might be the only good thing about being in Louisiana.
I would definitely say so.
Oh, yeah. You get up early, and you have the advantage of the waiver wire pickups.
One more thing there, your little good news, bad news situation there. For you, Dane, Chadors does have David Johnson on a bye week this week. His bread cow and the number 1 running back in the league is on a bye. Bad news is he went out and picked up Jay Ajayi a couple weeks ago, who's put up, I think, a 25 and a 32-point game in the past 2 weeks before he was on a bye this week. So I think he's got a decent replacement there. So a little good news, bad news for you there.
Thanks for bringing up David Johnson, by the way, Kevin, because we should really talk about how fucking badass David Johnson is. I mean, that guy has scored 20 more points than the next closest running back this year.
How has he done that, Gabe?
I have no fucking idea, but I'd assume it has something to do with catching a lot of passes and playing on a really crappy team with Carson Palmer not really able to do very much. I think they run the ball a lot. Coming from behind, throwing sneaky little screen passes. It can pay off, especially if you're like 6'2", 230 pounds, and are not really human.
And no, it's even worse. Kevin could have drafted him number 3 overall instead of DeAndre Hopkins. So let's let that marinate for a little bit.
There's a lot of things I could have done.
Don't kick the commissioner while he's down.
Oh, please. I deserve all of it after losing the podcast a couple weeks ago.
We didn't listen. Which brings us to our Bridgestone matchup of the week. Dennis versus Chad Faring. Dennis is 4-4 and Chad Faring is 5-3. What makes this Bridgestone matchup of the week interesting is this could potentially be the battle for the bottom seed of who's going to make the playoffs. They're both kind of in a situation where they're going to be fighting just to make the playoffs. One will make it. Could this be a precursor or a preview of what we might see later in the season here in a few weeks?
I think you're absolutely right. Fortunately for both of these teams, they don't have to deal with the kind of bye week issues that we had talked about in our other 2 matchups. Just Steven Gostkowski, really, for Dennis. Otherwise, 2 bench players. And just the Bengals defense, who I don't know what Faring was thinking picking them up in the first place. There was a reason I dropped them from my lineup. So he should probably replace them regardless of whether they were on a bye. But this should be an interesting matchup. I think the winner of this matchup could be the one that steals that coveted bottom playoff spot.
Now, this is a little off topic, but Dane, a couple weeks ago we had talked about, because you were sucking dick, that maybe you would bring a new inanimate object into the fold. I see you've continued to suck dick. So, are we going to move anywhere towards a new inanimate object, or are we just going to continue to ride out the ass rape train that you're currently straddling.
Gabe, don't sugarcoat it. Tell us how you really feel. And, yeah, I've lost a few. And I'm going to blame that on Russell Muscle Wilson. I thought I did a great job picking up Russell. He was coming into the season, he was ranked very high, one of the top quarterbacks, and I thought, wow, everybody else fucked up not picking him up. Well, unfortunately, he hurt his ankle, then he hurt his knee, and he said, I'm a tough guy, I'm going to keep playing. But he only gets me like 9 to 10 points a game. Tyler, you love that.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you did score 20, I still had the W, so it really didn't matter. And second of all, Russell Wilson's doing so bad because there's no Marshawn Lynch.
I think you got a good point there. Beast Mode was the distraction that helped Russell Wilson run around. And now that his ankle's hurt, he's not running around. He can barely throw the ball accurate. Like I say, this week or tomorrow is going to be my real test of how good a waiver wire pickup I can do. Because not only do I have 5 players on bye weeks, I need to get rid of this fucking piece of shit quarterback, excuse my language, Russell Muscle. But let that ankle heal up. Let that knee get better. And I know we all know this is a little side note. Russell Wilson just got married and had sex for the first time. I know you heard about this on SportsCenter. He waited till marriage to have boom boom. And I think now that he's blown his load a few times, there's no testosterone left. He's not hungry anymore. And I'm going to blame it all on him. I'm going to say...
Did he marry Sierra?
That's true. She's very good looking, but unlike a lot of good looking women, she's not a whore.
What are the odds that she waited until marriage, too?
She does have a kid with Future. I mean, she's a little bit of a whore.
Okay.
We could have a poll on that, too. How many of you listeners out there think she's a whore, or is it just Russell Wilson?
Speaking of dropping Russell Wilson, Dane, you know Marcus Mariota's out there.
Ooh.
And you know who he's playing this week?
Who is that?
It's a local favorite.
Ooh.
The San Diego Chargers.
See, that's going to be bittersweet because I am a diehard Chargers fan, and I hate rooting for somebody that's playing my team. But unfortunately, I need this win so bad, I might just have to do it.
Yeah, it's a sneaky one.
You know, you do have, unfortunately, some competition out there. 2 teams this week have quarterbacks on byes with no or mediocre replacements. We've got Zach needing a replacement for Kirk Cousins, who's the number 10 quarterback. Who would have thought that coming into this year? And Jeff has to replace Tom Brady. He's got Alex Smith on his bench, but Alex Smith may or may not and didn't have a concussion. So we don't know what's going on there. He's a game time decision from what we're hearing.
So you're
and
telling
reading.
me he plays in the NFL? The
Yes.
League of Player Safety.
Oh yeah.
He
yeah.
may or may not have a concussion.
So you've got a couple teams down there at the bottom of the rankings that have higher waiver priority that may snipe him from you, but they don't pay attention to their teams, so you might not have anything to worry about.
That's what I'm kind of hoping. Jeff not only doesn't pay attention, but if he was paying attention, he would be smart and pick up Jonathan Stewart. He had him on his bench, but had a mental fuck up, and he lost him. And so if he was smart, he'd use that first waiver wire pick to pick up a running back. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say he's going to space out.
I just want to take a moment to address that. Guys, if you take the time to log in, so you know your password and you logged in and you accepted the trade, or you made the trade, but then you didn't do the next step and put the player you traded for in your lineup, I don't know. Does that make sense to you?
I think Jeff may write a song about that one day.
I can't wait to hear it.
So wait. If you trade a player, you automatically have to play that player?
No.
No, you got to have a legal lineup, and Jeff won't set his lineups.
Oh, so yet admitted he traded a player but did not put a replacement player in there?
Well, he had Matt Jones in his lineup.
You dropped him.
And he traded Matt Stafford for Jonathan Stewart and Alex Smith. And Matt Jones, I believe, was ruled out on Friday or early on Saturday when I looked at like 10 or 11 in the morning. He was out and had the option to put Jonathan Stewart in to save and then
Have a fucking legal lineup.
have a legal lineup. And then, the coin, which we've adopted from your inanimate object from last year, the coin made the decision that Jonathan Stewart would be dropped from his lineup to make room.
Which I feel like is more than fair. We even said in last week's show, I know we're all partying for Halloween, so set your lineups on Saturday night before you go out. We warned you. You have no excuse, Jeff. You should have set your lineup, and don't let it happen again. Or if you do, at least write a song about it. That's all the time we have for this week's show. Thanks again for tuning in. And one last thing, Tyler, could you send us off with something hot and spicy?
Wait, did we do power rankings?
No, we did not.
Holy shit!
Dane, how much weed did you smoke?
I'm up there.
Did you get a contact high from that intro rip?
Now, the part you've all been waiting for. The Power Rankings going into week 9. At number 10, we've got Jeff. Not just because he's a piece of shit, but he's illegal lineups. How could this happen, dude? We warned you. You didn't listen.
By the way, Doug Martin's still on his bench. I don't know why. I don't know how.
He's been injured for years.
Jeff, I wish Kevin would go in and league manager your roster just to make it clean and organized and straight because I'm obsessive compulsive. That shit fucking makes me crazy. Please drop Doug Martin.
Couldn't agree more. At number 9, we've got Kevin. Kevin, it's not your fault, man. It's just your trades and your waiver wire pickups and your draft.
And
your roster.
The leaving 6 20-point players on my bench in the last 4 weeks. Yeah, but I'm having a rough time. I'm considering letting the coin do all of my decisions and just taking it out of my hands entirely.
Hey, if the shit fits, wear it. At number 8, we've got Zach Guthrie. He had a big win over Kevin, but could he still make the playoffs if he won every single game from here on out? I mean, that would be a miracle, but technically, I'm checking the numbers right now. It could be possible if the higher teams above him all lost and he won it all. Wouldn't that be a fucking Rudy comeback story?
That might be a comeback story to beat all comeback stories, actually. He does have a rough time with that this week playing against Tyler. And he's got a ton of injuries on his bench. Eddie Lacy and Vincent Jackson are on IR, but still there. I'm not sure what Zach's going to do, to be honest.
Either way, I'll keep an eye on him. It's going to be interesting. At number 7, and this one really concerns me, is Austin. He's had back-to-back wins. This shouldn't happen. There is no God. Why is this happening? Tyler, could you give us your opinion on this?
He's just on fire right now. His teams are scoring points.
You know, I think I have an answer for that, Dane. His last 2 wins have come against Kevin and Jeff. So congratulations, Austin. You beat the worst 2 teams in the league. But you don't fucking listen to this shit anyway, so fuck you.
Damn right. I couldn't have put it better myself. At number 6, I've got myself, Dane, and I'm not proud of number 6. I've been here for a long time. I'm just scared that Austin's getting close to me. If he passes me up, I'm going to be furious.
I looked back at your schedule. You've been kind of streaky. You went win-win, loss, win-win. And I hate to say it, but I think Tyler might have just started you on a losing streak. It's not because I don't like you or I think you have a bad team, but in the next 2 weeks you play Oris in week 9 and Gabe in week 10, and you've got a bunch of starters on buys this week. It's going to be rough for you. I wish you the best in your waiver wire hunting, and I hope it works out for you. You know we're all rooting for you against Chad.
Thank you. And I'd say I have the cards stacked against me, to say the least. I'm going to have to pull a miracle. At number 5, this is kind of, you could choose either or, Dennis or Chad Farron. We haven't really picked. It's hard to pick one. Chad Farron's been hanging at number 5 for a long time, but Dennis has also been losing. Chad lost. I don't know. I mean, we could do a league vote. Kevin, if you had to pick a 4 and a 5, who would you pick?
They both didn't put up great weeks in week 8. I had Farron at 5 and Dennis at 4 just because that's how we had them the week before, and neither one of them did anything to prove they were better or worse than the other one. Dennis may have taken too much time doing the photoshopping for the podcast and forgot to do his lineup research or something. I'm not sure. But you know I think they play each other this week, and there are Bridgestone matchup of the week, so that one should be a good one.
Yeah, you know, in my opinion, I think Dennis might have a slightly better team. Not for any reason other than he has a couple players who have been high potential players who have been high scoring maybe the highest scoring players certain weeks, like LaShawn McCoy, Drew Brees, Odell Beckham. Travis Kelce this past week was pretty great. He has those players who seem like they might be a step above. And in those tough playoff games, if you're getting 100 points, you're getting 105 points, like you might lose, you might need that 115, 120 point game. Those are the players who get you those wins. The one worry, I guess, is that Shady's a little dinged up, so we're going to have to see how that goes. But that's just my 2 cents.
I think you make some great points there, Gabe. If Dennis's team can stay healthy, Odell Beckham, LaShawn McCoy, the big stars, like you say, I think the rest of his season looks great. And it's going to be interesting to see these two go at each other because they're both so evenly ranked on this one. At number 3, we've got Tyler. I think we all agree with that one. Tyler had a huge win over me this past week, and not just by a little bit. He kicked my butt by a whole lot. Tyler, you're number 3 this week. Do you think you're only going to go up from here?
I hope so. Definitely hope so, especially who I see at 2-1. I definitely want to be on the top.
I think you definitely deserve the number 3 spot here. Your team, your starting lineup is loaded with players in the top 15 at their position. The one thing that scares me about your team is the bench doesn't have the solid top to bottom top 20 talent like Gabe or Oris have. But that doesn't mean that your sneaky waiver wire hunting can't overcome those numbers and maybe take down one of the giants named Chad Oris.
Yeah, the one thing I see for Tyler's team is he has 2 quarterbacks there. You can't start both of them. Number 1 quarterback and number 6, something like that. So, you got trade pieces maybe to move, maybe some moves to make to improve the lineup, someone who needs a quarterback.
Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just for the bye week this week.
It's just for the bye week. But, I feel like there might be a little shake-up there coming down the stretch. And the waiver wire pickups are very consistent, so...
You know what? I'm going to keep my 2 quarterbacks for the playoffs. Because we all know Aaron Rodgers gets hot during playoff time, and Matt Ryan kind of crumbles. Remember they were 7-0 a couple years back and finished 8-8? Like, what the fuck happened? So I'm going to keep Rodgers and keep Matt Ryan until next week, probably, since it's week 8 now. I'm pushing my luck. We'll see.
Might as well ride it out.
That's a smart plan. Now, the top 2, you could go either way. This is like comparing apples and oranges because they're both so good. Chad Oris has the better overall record of being 7-1, but Gabe also has a really stacked team and maybe you could say an easier matchup the rest of the season. So from looking here on out, you almost say Chad Oris is number 2 and Gabe would be number 1 as far as if you had to look the rest of the season. Kevin, do you agree?
I have Gabe at number 1 and Oris at number 2. Just because Gabe is the first team to reach the 1,000-point mark this year. Congrats, Gabe. Round of applause for Gabe.
Yep.
He's given up 93.1 more points than Oris has on the season, which is a full matchup's worth of points more. And that might explain his one more loss. We've talked about it many times before. Chad had kind of an easy schedule coming into the first 6 weeks of the season. And if you look at Gabe's lineup, I don't think he has a player ranked outside of the top 20 at a single position on his roster. Even with his bye week fill-in players that he picked up last week are top 20 players. So
there's the one exception really is Le'Veon, and he's at 24.
He's at the 20. He's at 24. He missed 3 games, and he hasn't scored a touchdown this year. Le'Veon Bell will finish in the top 5. Probably. So yeah, for that reason, and if you go back and look at the numbers from the hypothetical season where everybody plays everybody every week, Gabe's record is far and away better than Chad Oris's. 56-16 for Gabe compared to 49-23 for Chad Oris. So for those reasons, I have Gabe at 1, Oris at 2. Dane, I think you have another reason.
I agree, and you made some great points. Even though Chad Oris has a better record of 7-1, Gabe does have the better points overall. Like you were saying, points 4. He's got a way better first to reach 1,000. And if he had to play everybody every week, he would have a better record for that reason.
I think we got to stop calling out Chad in this cupcake schedule because, like Kevin did with the power rankings, he's 3rd, and you guys are towards the bottom. So he's got the better team, cupcake or not, and he's 49, and you guys are below 500. So what do you have to say about yourselves?
Stop making fun of us!
This podcast is all we have to distract ourselves from our shitty fantasy football lives. This is the only solace we have. Please don't take this from us.
We need this!
I'm just saying, you can't call it a cupcake schedule if we're all even and he's still better than you guys.
Well, he was playing teams like me, so I can call him a cupcake schedule because I think he kicked the shit out of me.
And me. He made me pour ice on myself.
That's what I'm saying. He's got the 3rd best team, 49, like you said with your stats. By the way, me and Gabe cracked the top 50.
That's right.
But, and you guys are, 20 wins, if that? 38?
All right, I've got an idea for a stat for next week's podcast. It'll be a little surprise stat portion of tomorrow's podcast, and we'll get a little bit more into that.
I'm looking forward to it already. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Have fun. Be safe. Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
Oh, Chad, fair. Me and you beer pong, I challenge you.
Ooh.